the album gets nominated for a Juno, which is Canada's Grammys, in the category of metal slash hard rock album of the year. What does that Juno nomination mean to you? This is your country acknowledging your music, your talent, your dedication, your hard work.
Oh my God. I mean, it was everything at the time. Honestly, Joel, it was like a really hard time. I was actually thinking of leaving music because um it was nominated in 2020 and I released the album in 2019. And like I mentioned earlier, like before we hopped into this, there was a year-long process of the album getting delayed because I was being like hummed and hawed at by labels and just like this needs to stop. I know I can release this independently and it'll be okay. And at that point, when the nomination came out, I had left Cradle of Filth, but it wasn't public knowledge. I unfortunately handed over my business to some people who did not take good care of it, and I was scrambling to do admin work to save myself certain deals that were put into place that were way overdue and not taken care of. I was like so spread thin and just dried out. I was like, I don't know if I can keep doing this. Like and it was weird because we were getting offers. Like 2020 took away everything, but we were getting offers in like Australia and South America, and there was other bands talking of bringing us out to like, North American tours and Europe. So I was like maybe, I don't know. I was just that January was so hard, and they always announced the Juno nominations at the end of January, usually. Back then they did anyways. And I had submitted it, but I just didn't think about it. It was like kind of like, you have to do what you have to do and you don't really think twice about it. You're like, okay, like I did the thing, I submitted it, we'll see what happens.
Especially as an
So,
independent artist as well, right? The focus is
yeah,
generally on artists that are with the major labels. Like the awards are originally constructed by labels to sell more records in the early months of the year where nobody's buying albums because they spent all their money on around Christmas. So it's
right.
like the whole point of the awards originally is to sell more product from the major labels. So for you to submit as an independent art, completely independent, you wouldn't even think that you would get a nomination.
Well, that's the thing. I wasn't expecting it. I just submitted it and forgot about it and didn't pay attention because I was just in such a slump at the time. I didn't pay attention to when they were announcing it or anything. So then it was kind of a beautiful moment. I've told this story a million times, but like my parents were giving me their old beater car. They're like, here, have a car because your van just died a horrible death. Because it did. It was like from one of those like old Nissan Mercuries from like 98. Like it still had a cassette player in it and it just died a death. It was an old car, old van, my band van. And they were like, we went to I guess you could say the DMV and we're just, transferring over the ownership. My phone starts blowing up. I'm seeing all these notifications come in like, "Oh my God, congratulations." Like people from high school I haven't heard of from in years and I'm like, "What is going on?" So then the first person who I'm like the closest to, who's the most sound of mind, who's going to be able to explain this to me was Simon McKay from The Agonist. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, dude, we both got nominated for Junos. I'm like, excuse me? Excusez-moi. So like I go search for the website, I look on the socials, and it's true. I was nominated with like so many cool bands that year. And I just start crying. And then my parents are like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I've been nominated for Juno. So they start crying. We're all hugging in the DMV. And then the person transferring the ownership like comes up behind the counter and she's like, oh my God, my son's a musician. I'm so proud of you. And I'm like,
And
I
then
can't
she
handle this
starts
moment.
crying, and then
Yeah,
everyone's in
it
a
was a
glass case
lot.
of emotion.
Yeah, yeah. And I remember calling my partner at the time and I told him and he's like, well, that was a big change considering like what you were talking about this week about everything going wrong and wanting to leave the music industry. And I'm like, I know, I just don't know what's going on right now. So it was nice that I got to celebrate that moment with my parents. And I mean, like a nomination is enough. I already feel like getting that recognition is enough. It wasn't for me, it wasn't about winning. It was just like cool, I got recognized. But a lot of people are like, yeah, like you're the first female solo artist. It's on your first album. Like that was insane. I was like, I don't know. Like everyone else is paying attention to details. I'm like, I just make music, guys. So,
One great thing, even about being nominated, is just like my introduction for this interview. It's Juno nominated singer-songwriter. That's always with you, which is awesome. And to
yeah,
point back to where you're like, man, anytime something good happens, something equally bad happens, the only way to follow up a Juno nomination is with a global pandemic 2 months
of
later.
course. Yeah. Yeah, of course. That was brutal.